Kuzuzambo, I'm 𝗪𝗔𝗙𝗙, and welcome to Her Story, a show that honors the voices and journeys of women. We're coming to you from 𝗏𝗏𝗇𝗏𝗏 Interiors. Our location partner, 𝗏𝗏𝗇𝗏𝗏 Interiors, is a trendy store offering the latest furniture and stylish interior decor, perfect for transforming any space into a modern and elegant haven. Who says you can't pursue your passion and excel in your career? I have with me today someone who proves you can do both. Zimiri is a contemporary artist who gained national attention in 2015 with Faces, the first solo contemporary art exhibition by a woman in Bhutan, and has since exhibited internationally, including Tall Tales in Taipei in 2023. And as if it weren't enough, in May 2025, she made history as the first female member of the South Asian Football Federation Executive Committee, a proud milestone for women's leadership in regional football. I'm thrilled to have Zimiri on Her Story today. Hello and welcome to Her Story, Zimbi. I am very excited to have you here. My first question, as always, is I take you back to when you were a little girl. Describe the kind of person you were as a girl.
Me as a little girl, I was a tomboy to the core.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Loved playing with all the guns and G.I. Joes and running around.
You have brothers, two brothers.
Yeah.
Maybe that has an influence on you? Were you the youngest?
No, I'm the oldest.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm the oldest. The two younger ones, well, 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 was born right after, but 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 came a little later. I had an older brother, maybe the 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏, maybe that kind of influence. But I think just in general, I was a tomboy. I was very loud, very opinionated, very, very ungirl-like, I guess you could say.
Do you think that has changed now?
And I mean, when I look back at it now, I was very confident, very, a little bit sort of, I know everything, but also like in the way that kids are, you know? But I think when I moved to boarding school, there was this real moment of like when you're pulled out from this environment that you're so comfortable with, and people know you a certain way and you tend to behave a certain way. So I remember when I went to boarding school, it was sort of the shock of like, oh wow, I had to kind of figure out who I wanted to be.
What grade were you in? By?
6th grade.
6th, okay. You went to boarding school out of Bhutan, okay.
I was in 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏 International School, South India.
I see.
So we were up on top of this hill station with, again, I mean, it was a similar environment in the sense that it was very isolated, but, and the school was small and everyone kind of knew each other and all of that.
How did art come into your life? How did the artist Zimiri come out?
I was never really good at art growing up.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's this idea of, I mean, I definitely think some people are born with certain, like, inclinations, or they're more aware spatially and, you know, hand-eye coordination. Some people are better at sports and things like that. For me, not so much. I was more fascinated, and I always found art a little bit like magic. Oh. So this idea of, so when I was younger, it was sort of this ability to take something from the real world, 3D images, right? And put it on something flat and have it kind of, you can immerse yourself in it. It creates like this world on a flat piece of paper. And then as I got older, I found it even more amazing, because then you could like kind of pluck ideas out of your head, or images out of your head, or even thoughts and questions, and put that on a canvas or on a sculpture and bring it out into the real world.
When did you discover that, though?
I mean, in the schools that I went to, they always had a very well-rounded education, which I think is so important for a child's upbringing, because I know how much it influenced my life and how I viewed things. And I mean, I think that's why there's like this sport and arts, right? Because I don't know, when I was, some teachers would only value academic intelligence. And I remember when I was younger, I used to be like, but some of these, like my friends, were so intelligent in sports and so intelligent in art, but they were never considered good students or intelligent. And for me, I remember being very, very angry on their behalf, you know? Sorry, I don't even know if that was your...
No, I understand how it contributes to a wholesome growth in the child. And now kids are encouraged to participate in all these extracurricular activities and made to see where their interest and passion lies. And I think this is a beautiful growth, and hence I think we will have a lot of creative people, a lot of more athletic people coming up in the future.
But you know, sorry, just to interrupt, I don't necessarily feel that that your interest or what you learn from sports and art necessarily has to be in pursuit of those careers. I feel like when you're on a sports team, right, like I was saying, you learn about teamwork, you learn about leadership, you learn about discipline, you know? And like in order to be good at a sport, that training, practice, all of that is something that's important. When you're in art, you have to learn how to be creative. You have to learn how to mix and match things. And I feel like regardless of what you do in life, if you're able to apply those things, it's definitely a plus, you know?
You learn from these, you know, and not necessarily pursue it as career, like you said, you're right. Who is one artist that you really look up to?
Oh, there's so many. Living artists, dead artists?
Like
in the past?
Either?
I think living artists, and this is really exciting for me because I just recently met 𝗪𝗏𝗄𝗏. And I'm such a big fan of his because I think firstly, his work is just beautiful. But also I have so much admiration for somebody who's come from the Himalayan region and who is able to take art, contemporary art, because I feel like the traditional arts is very much valued and people are aware of it in auction houses and places around the world. But the contemporary art scene in the Himalayan region, I feel like that's where it's an exciting time because we're kind of defining who we are as artists right now. And we're figuring out how we present ourselves to the world. So it's like, I feel like it's this historic moment in contemporary art history. But 𝗪𝗏𝗄𝗏 was actually somebody who is like taking himself out there. And I think after meeting him and after hearing so many things about what people said about him, he really is mindful about not just him kind of being there on the stage, but like bringing our whole community up.
But if people don't fully understand contemporary art, what is your opinion on it? For example, a banana taped on a wall, that has become one of the most expensive art in the current times. For those of us, me included, who don't understand the whole craze behind it, how do you explain contemporary art?
It's actually a really good question. I still struggle with sometimes what is art, especially contemporary art, like you were saying. I'll give you a story about what I think contemporary art is. My cousin and I, 𝗪𝗏𝗄𝗏, we were in New York together one time, and he was introducing me to all this amazing food and restaurants, and I was taking him to galleries and museums.
Okay.
And one of the museums we went to was Guggenheim. And I cannot for the life of me remember the artist's name, but so we paid our entrance fee and we walked into the space and we looked around and we're like, oh my God, I think we just wasted that $5 or whatever it was. We're like, okay, we're here, we might as well go. So the way that the Guggenheim is designed is that you start at the top and then you kind of spiral your way down to the bottom. But when we walked in, we were a little bit disappointed because what we saw was, it was just these canvases of different size and dates.
Okay.
It was literally just like 9/5/1980 something.
Oh, dates as in the calendar dates, not the fruit.
No,
okay,
not the
okay,
fruit
all right.
dates. Like literally just numbers.
Okay.
Right? So you'd have a canvas and then it'd just be the dates. And sometimes it'd be the year, day, month, day, year, in different shades, different colors, all of that. So we're like, oh God, what do we? But again, like I said, so we started at the top and as we started walking down, and as we were walking, like the room they were like these little alcoves where you could go in and then they would sort of be this write-up about the artist or what the artist's intent was and at what date and time and all of these things. It was like throughout his life. By the time we got to the bottom of the stairs, 𝗪𝗏𝗄𝗏 and I had this moment of like shock where we were like, this man is a genius.
Okay.
You know? So I think for me that's what like the way that I interpret contemporary art is that it's no longer so much about what the image might be visually, but the concepts and the ideas and the storytelling behind the imagery.
Wow.
Right? So it's like, I guess it's like an iceberg, where what you see is like just a fraction of what is actually intended and meant for the piece.
Wow.
It takes a little bit longer to kind of maybe understand what the artist wants to say or what it...
But as a contemporary artist yourself, don't you feel this means you have to put in a lot of you out there, not just the art, but the story too?
100%.
It's a lot out of you. You have to be there present, explaining, or you have to put it somewhere explaining, because a lot of the people would miss it otherwise.
You're right. A lot of people, when they see contemporary art, especially pieces that are like really out there, they look at it and they're like, what is this, right? But I mean, there's actually like a whole category of art which is just shock art, which means that there's like this, the point of the art is to shock the audience. And then they might go online and be like, what does that mean? Like, what is it about? And there's this curiosity to it, right? Sometimes contemporary art is about evoking emotions. Like maybe it's, like I'm sure you've seen pieces where it's just colors, right? But then I think you have to give it a little bit more time than you would something that's visually stimulating, right? And that you look at it and you're like, okay, you're having a conversation with the piece. So you have to ask the canvas. You have to be like, what are you trying to tell me? I mean, what I enjoy about it is like there's this, I think it's this conversation, right? It's like people, when they look at it, some of them are like, oh my God, this is horrible. But then that's also something that you get from it. I think the only thing that I would appreciate, like at least even for my art, is when somebody comes to see it, you don't have to like it, you don't have to connect with it. But if you just give it sort of like a few minutes of your time to like engage with it, and then if it's not for you, that's fine. And if it is, great, you know? But I think it's that you need to make that little bit more effort to kind of figure it out. It's like a puzzle or something.
Who is one artist whose work you'd love to own?
I actually, I love Dali.
Okay. All right.
And I know that maybe it's a crop out or a little strange for an artist to be picking somebody so like well-known and famous, but for me, I've been to one of his museums where they kind of have, again, like the storytelling of his life and what he was doing and what the symbolism behind his work, right? He didn't just make these melty, weird, quirky paintings. There was so much of his experiences and his sort of questioning and his
Identity, I think. And there's a lot of, you can look at the art and tell it's him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a very strong signature. But, and more than that, I think there was, he also had like this, there was so much of meaning and intent behind the work. It wasn't just like, okay, I'm going to draw all this weird stuff.
Yeah.
It was this very intentional, you know, this, the butterflies mean this and drawers mean that, and right now I'm feeling this way, so I'm going to paint. It's like this, you know, like I said, it's like a secret language that you get to decode if you kind of take the time to understand. It's not difficult to decode, but you have to like kind of take a little bit more time to be like, okay, like he paints a lot of butterflies, like why? Or what are the drawers? Instead of just looking at a lady with drawers coming out of her and being like, okay, that's weird, and moving on, you feel like, okay, why? You know? Then there's like so many layers of that you get to understand and see. And like I said, I think that's something that I enjoy about his work, because visually it just looks so quirky and weird. It's a surrealist, right? It's like he painted his dreams.
You said you paint your thoughts. Are you working on any new projects?
I actually just finished a few paintings, and it's for the Tainan Museum in Taiwan.
I see. And could you share a little about it?
Of course. So the theme of the exhibition was Wheel of Life. And it was actually really interesting for me to do, because I've worked on pieces that kind of look like the Wheel of Life, but I've never really delved into it. I feel like as a Bhutanese, I'm learning so much about my culture by doing art, because then I have to, like, I've seen the wheel of life. I'm sure all of us have our whole lives, right? Walking into the dzongs and 𝗲𝗲𝗄𝗏s, it's always out there. And we're sort of given this brief, like, oh yeah, these are the realms of the lives, you know? Like there's heaven, hell, and all the different. But to actually have to look into it and be like, oh my God, there's so much information on this. And there's so many different layers again. And to sort of take this very traditional, very Buddhist, Bhutanese concept and try and reimagine it and recreate it was like, it was a lot of fun.
When is the exhibition happening, by the way?
September.
Oh, okay.
September 12th.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. It's actually, I think it's the first public museum that's going to be exhibiting Himalayan contemporary art in Asia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because in the West, like I said, 𝗪𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗏's done that, but from what the galleries told me, it's the first time that in a public museum in Asia. It's actually, so it's a group show. 𝗪𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗏's doing a solo space, and then 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗵, 𝗪𝗏𝗵𝗵, and me, the three of us will be doing a group show there.
So from Zimbi, the artist, to now the first female executive committee member for the South Asian Football Federation, quite mouthful.
I was just going to say.
Congratulations on that again.
Thank you.
You might not realize this, but every time we have the so-called glass ceiling broken, it just paves the way for all the girls who are younger than you, or maybe even older, but who are a little later than you, coming after you. It paves the way for that, and for that alone, you need to take pride in that. So I want to take this opportunity to congratulate you on this. We're all very happy and proud for you on that front. Now let's go to what does it take to become the first female executive committee member for the South Asian Football Federation.
I think football has always been a very boys' club. And I think right now, or at least the last few years, there's been a real effort from starting all the way from the top, like, you know, FIFA, AFC, SAF. There's been a lot of support towards developing women's football. And you can see that with FIFA and AFC giving more money, there being more tournaments internationally, you know, and regionally. And, but I feel like in Bhutan, we've actually been really lucky. Because even before this support for women's football started, the Federation was already making a lot of efforts to kind of developing both men and women's football. And I think one of the reasons that we aren't able to, like, why it may seem like the boys are doing, like, having more exposure and things than the girls, is because for a long time, women weren't, or especially young girls and things, they weren't too keen on football. You know, parents also were a little reluctant to send their kids to school. I remember when I first joined the Federation, a number of years ago now, the coaches and the people in the Federation, one of the things that, when I asked them, like, okay, what problems do you all have? Like, how can I help? Like, they would tell me that, you know, it's really difficult to get parents to agree to send their girls to the academy. So we have a women's academy down in 𝗪𝗏𝗄𝗏, which started at the same time that the boys' academy started in Thimphu.
Same time?
Same time. So like I said, one of our issues was we would go around and have these nationwide searches for girls who were inclined to football or who were skilled at it. And when we would go to their families and be like, hey, your daughter's gotten into the academy and they have board and school and all of that's taken care of, the parents would just refuse. And it was because and completely understandable, right? That you worry about your child's future and what playing football, how that's going to impact their education and their life in the future. And I think that, so the coaches would literally have to go to the parents and be like, please. Whereas with boys, that was never really an issue, right? But like I said, over the years, the growth of women's football has led to a lot of opportunities opening up, both in the region and internationally. Not just as a means of playing football or pursuing it as a career, but even to get your education. You know, we have scholarships with 𝗭𝗶𝗺𝗃 Academy, which is one of the best in Bhutan, and then RTC as well. And so I think that even if you're, and I tell the girls this all the time, I said, firstly you have to decide what it is you want to do. And if you're using football to further your education, I said, we're happy to help facilitate that, you know? You just use football as a means to further yourself. And like I said, there's no issue with that, because I feel like if we can help the younger generation kind of take something that they're passionate and good at, and like I said, you can translate that into any workspace. And I feel like then for us also, we feel proud, you know? Our girls from the academy have gone on to become these amazing.
You have your hands full with responsibilities towards the Federation more. And as an artist too, you have an exhibition coming up very soon. What do you do when you are not occupied with these two forces that are pulling you?
I enjoy my alone time quite a bit.
Okay.
So I tend to, I love sleeping in.
Okay.
I know it sounds so, but when I'm not working, my days are just very lazy, relaxed, slow days.
That sounds really good. I love sleeping in too. I don't get to, but girl can dream.
No, it's actually, you know, it's funny because like when you talk about these different things, I sometimes feel like I have to like, because when I'm in football, it's this very people role that I have to play, right? Where I'm interacting with the girls, encouraging them, figuring out what issues might be coming up. And like I said, it's really, I think the reason that the Bhutan Football Federation has gotten as far as it has is, I mean, firstly, because our president and general secretary are very passionate and very keen on kind of moving football forward for Bhutan. But it's also a lot of passionate people in the federation who want to see it succeed and who are willing to go above and beyond their job requirements. And so for me, when I'm there, I feel that passion and that excitement that they have. And then we see the players who are there, who are literally just so passionate about football, who want to make the country proud. Like when I talk to them, conversations with them, there's, like for the girls, when I tell them in football, I'm like, guys, a part of, like it's become so much a part of playing football is like falling when you need to, so that you can get that foul. And I remember trying to get the girls to fall when they needed to. And they looked at me and they're like, we can't do that. It's like, they feel embarrassed because they're like, I mean, I think it's such a, like they don't want to deceive or like feel like, you know, like they're acting. So, I mean, even in that sense, there's a sense of pride for what they do and who they are, you know, and representing the country and stuff. So for me, in that space, I feel like it's very much a people environment where I have to communicate with a lot of different groups and kind of figure out where the pressure points are. And then when I'm on the exco, you know, with the board members, over there we kind of have these discussions about where the issues are, where the bottlenecks might be, and then trying to sort those things out. And again, everything is very much team, where we're all working together to kind of push football forward. Then I have my art, which again, I have these amazing galleries and, you know, a lot of support from my family and my parents and some of the local artists, you know, where they're, but essentially the actual work, physically working, the thought process, all of that is very much me. And so when I'm in that space, I tend to be, I lock myself up in my studio and I'm just there till I finish up, you know? So when I have my free time, I literally turn into a bum.
This is an opportunity for you to actually take this time to see who has been your biggest supporter, to be there for you, not just helping you out physically, but also someone who had the ears for you, the shoulders for you when you needed. So who's your biggest supporter?
I have so many. You know, when the expression "it takes a village" is thrown about quite a bit, and I think there's a reason for it. Whether it's with football or with my art or just as a human being, I think it really does take a village to help kind of get you to be forget to be successful, for you to be happy, content, all of those things, you know. But I mean, if I had to kind of name a few, my parents definitely, you know, from the get-go. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'd be in art if it weren't for their encouragement and kind of this belief in me that I hadn't even thought I needed, you know. Then I have some of like my aunts who have just been really amazing in kind of being like my cheerleaders. My cousins, some of my cousins, like, I feel like a superstar when I'm next to them because they're just like, oh my God, Ashimi, you're so amazing. And I'm just like, stop it. But keep going, you know? No, it's, and I think there's this, recently I've been joking about, like, I joke with my friends and family, and like when we talk about certain people, I'm like, yeah, they have like successful people, right? And what I like to say is like, yep, they have the audacity, you know? And I feel like that's kind of half of getting things done is believing and like having the audacity to think that you can, you know?
Wow. Yes.
So instead of, and sorry, just to like kind of lean into that a bit, I feel like initially it was, it's like my family and my friends had the audacity to think that I could do things. And I wasn't quite sure I could do. But I think that slowly, you have to kind of start believing you have to have the audacity, you know, to kind of want to do things that are unimaginable, because that's the only way you can do it.
Wow, okay, I like that, I like that. And with that, my last question. Please complete the sentence for me. Zimbi is?
Still trying to figure out who she is. I think one of the most amazing lessons that I've learned in my long life is that once you think you know something, you completely cut off any chance of growth.
Okay.
And I think there's so much of joy and possibility of growth when you're always trying to rediscover who you are, who you want to be, how things are, all that. Oh, one color, definitely. I'm happy to do one color for the rest of my life. I am at heart an introvert. I love my me time and my space, so I'd definitely say an artist. I'm gonna say Luffy from One Piece. It's a little unconventional, but I love him. Can I not live in these worlds?
Thank you, Zimiri, for sharing your story with us today. To our viewers, remember your story is a part of the greater narrative of change and progress. Until next time, keep writing your own her story. Bye-bye.